The correct way to join a condensing unit and an evaporator unit in a type of domestic split installation would be as follows. Let's first place the thin pipe. Here we would place a slope. We are making the thin pipe, we are going to make it a little thinner. We would put an inclination, then we would place a siphon. We are going to talk about how the inclinations would be. We would place a siphon. We are going to put this siphon in order to moisten the oil coolant and also help us to increase the speed. Now we are going to place it directly. We are talking about an installation of less than 4 meters. Therefore we can do the following. Directly send the refrigerant without the need for intermediate siphons. Now we would place a counter siphon. We are going to place this counter siphon above the level of the evaporator above level because otherwise it does nothing. The idea is that it is on top, and now we would place another slope towards the evaporator unit. That would be the correct way to do this type of installation. I am talking about the thin pipe of these inclinations. We will talk in a few minutes now. We are going to place the thickest pipe, the one with the largest diameter. We are now in the thin pipe. Let's go to the thickest pipe. That we would place a direct discharge. This fatter pipe, we are going to increase the diameter. We would place a direct discharge without the need to place siphons, without the need to place accessories. We are going to take care not to lose pressure in this pipe, always avoiding increasing the number of accessories with unnecessary curves, and we would then have the hardest pipe. These slopes are 2%, which means that if the length of one of these is at least 1 meter, then they must be sloped 2 centimeters, and if they were half a meter 50, they would have to be sloped 1 centimeter. This installation that I am placing here, let's pay attention that it is for the condensing unit below the evaporator unit. As long as we have less than 4 meters between these units, then we would do it directly. Remember that the thin pipe is through which the refrigerant rises and the thicker pipe is where it will go down. That is why with the thick pipe we do not touch anything, because the oil would go down under its own weight, and instead with the gas pipe then we must make the siphon because this siphon allows us to moisten the refrigerant, increase the speed so that the refrigerant rises with the oil without problem. This contrasiphon arrives that is put so that the evaporator oil does not return and we send in refrigerant directly. Now we are going to see the case when we have a greater height. Then we are going to place the case when we have a greater height. That's where we would be at this point. So we have a siphon, a first siphon. Now, since we have a height greater than 4 or 5 meters, let's say that we have a height in this case, say a value of 6 meters, then we would have to make the following scheme. First of all, we are going to go here. This same siphon is maintained. This pipe is thin. We are going to decrease the diameter to be related to the drawing. We would have the first pipe. Now we would place, look at what we are going to do, we would place a contrasiphon. There we can put it this way, and now we would place a siphon to moisten the oil coolant. The counter siphon would be ready, and here we would launch a pipe upwards, as short as possible. Here we would place another counter siphon so that the oil does not return. The contrasiphons are always put with the objective that the oil does not return and we lose the way. Here we put it like this. And here to finish, a little inclination. Let's place it. A little tilt. Let us remember that these inclinations, we explained that they have a value of 2%. If this pipe that is here is 50 centimeters, then this slope would be 1 centimeter. For every 100 centimeters it leans 2 centimeters. For every 100 centimeters we must incline 2 centimeters. This would be the thinnest pipe, and note that I am going to put the counter siphon in the middle, as far as possible in the middle of the installation. Now we go with the thickest pipe, which is the one where the refrigerant, in this case, is returning. That pipe, which is the thickest, we are going to place this inclination here. I exaggerated it a bit here. All the inclinations are going to be the same. It is because of the cost of the drawing that sometimes one looks smaller than the other. We throw the pipe more, fat woman. Now we go directly down to the unit. We go down directly to the unit, and now what we do is simply join it without trying to avoid the presence. Trying to avoid the presence of accessories that we do not need.